There is a burning question from one of my subscribers as we do Zoom calls on an iPad is how to get good quality audio with a good quality mic. A simple question to answer when connecting to a computer or MacBook. When it comes to other capable devices, that becomes tricky. The question was specific to connecting the Rodecaster Pro with an iPad. Well, within Rodecaster Pro, you can get good quality audio and use a good quality mic. In this video, I'll answer this question, and if it's even possible, I'll show you how. So let's get into it. There are two different connections to the current types of iPads available today. One through a Lightning connection and a second through a USB-C connection. We're going to be testing out my older 10.5-inch iPad Pro, which does have a Lightning connection. Now, the Rodecaster Pro has three possible connections that can possibly work with the older iPad. One of those connections is through a USB-C to Lightning cable. And if the iPad does have a headphone jack, we are going to be connecting through a TRRS cable. Now, this is going to be really important. This is a TRRS cable. There we go. You're going to notice that it has three rings. And the reason why for those three rings and why it's important that you get a TRRS cable is that it will channel through both the output and input through a mic. So it's going to give you the sound through the speakers or your audio that you're hearing, and also send out audio through a mic. So it's going to be important to get a TRRS cable. Now, in the same way, if your iPad doesn't have a headphone jack with a Lightning connection, I'm not sure if that exists. We are also going to test the TRRS cable with a Lightning to 3.5 millimeter jack. And you can also connect through the Bluetooth on the Rodecaster Pro. So those are going to be the different ways we're going to test and see if we can actually connect the iPad through Zoom with a Rodecaster Pro. The second is going to be through with a newer iPad. This is a 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and this is an iPad that I borrowed from a friend of mine, so thank you, shout out to you. And we're going to be connecting this simply through a USB-C to USB-C cable directly into the Rodecaster Pro, and we are going to test it also through Bluetooth. Again, I haven't really tried to connect the Rodecaster Pro through iPad to do a Zoom meeting. Typically, I'm using my Mac Mini M1 or my MacBook Pro or my MacBook Air connected directly into my Rodecaster Pro. So this is going to be very, very cool to find out if this works. Now, how am I going to test this? I'm going to be using my personal Zoom account to record the audio coming out of the Zoom meeting. So when I'm recording, it's literally going to be into the Zoom meeting, and what you hear is if it works or if it doesn't work. Secondly, while I'm testing it through and I'm recording, I won't do any post audio processing at all, so you can hear actually what the receiver is going to hear using a Rodecaster Pro if it works. I'll be using a Shure SM7B mic with the Rodecaster Pro through these different connections. So let's go into Zoom and try it out.
Okay, test number one. This is the regular speaker or the regular mic that you can hear from the iPad. So what I'm going to do now is take our Lightning to USB. I'm going to plug that in here. Hopefully we can hear a difference. Okay, so let's see what happens. Speaker on, Rodecaster Pro Bluetooth. So it looks like the Lightning to iPad does not work. The audio most likely hasn't changed. Probably sounds the same. I'm not going to do any audio processing. This is how I would sound from the iPad mic. Okay, that was a fail. So next, we're going to connect the TRRS cable into the headphone jack.
Okay, so now it says headphones on my iPad. So hopefully you can hear the change in audio coming from my iPad. This is the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. Checking 1, 2, 3. To further see if this works, I'm going to mute myself from the Rodecaster Pro and see if you can still hear or if it switches to the iPad Pro mic. Now I'm back. Was there muting? Was there not muting? And now the last test is sharing, and share a web URL. Let's go to elevateproject.com and let's share. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen from here. Is my audio still working on the iPad? It does say I'm using the headphones. So hopefully you can hear me still. And I'm just going to scroll down. Here are some of my videos that I have on my website. I have some Instagram posts that are posted here as well. Okay, so I think this is a pass. We've made the iPad Pro work with the Rodecaster Pro through the 3.5 millimeter jack into the headphones. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch it up. Now we're going to add this lightning adapter to 3.5 millimeter jack and see if that works. Okay, so it still says headphones, so hopefully the audio still sounds the same. I'm going to mute myself, see if it's still working. All right, I'm back. I think it was a success. Again, we're going to quickly just share my screen again. Let's go to the web URL, share. I'm still good. Still says headphones. I'm still sharing here again. Perfect. We have a success so far with the 3.5 millimeter jack. Okay, last test with the iPad Pro. We're going to switch to Bluetooth. So in my options, first off, because while we're sharing, we're going to go headphones and switch to Bluetooth. I'm going to turn that up and see if this works. So testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? How's the sound quality? Does it sound as good as a 3.5 millimeter jack through the headphone as well as through the adapter? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, now I'm going to mute myself again just to see if this still works. Perfect. So I'm still connected through the adapter. I'm still connected through Bluetooth. There's one more test that I want to do as well, is to see if the sound effects are going through. Okay, so hopefully you heard that. Again, let me know in the comments below to hear how it sounded. So we're going to switch back to headphones. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the sound effects. Here we go. All right, hopefully you were able to hear that. Again, I'm going to go check the recording. Before I do that, we're going to switch. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to move this around a little bit and switch to the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Okay, so we're doing this one more time. Now we are on the iPad Pro 12.9-inch with a USB connection. And what you're hearing now is the mic audio from the iPad. So that is what you're hearing. Hopefully it sounds okay and not garbled, depending on how strong my Wi-Fi connection is. So now we're going to be using a USB-C to USB-C.
If you're interested in these adapters, by the way, the TRRS cable, the adapters, and the cables, I'll leave the description. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get the ones that I'm using, because I know these are the ones that I'm using in this demo. And if they work, great. And of course, if you're not using anything different, you should be good there too.
Okay, so we should be good. I am connected, so hopefully you can hear me. If you can, checking 1, 2, 3, check 1, 2, 3. I'm going to mute myself here. Okay, I'm back. So hopefully it muted. If it muted, that means we were good. And hopefully you can hear an audio change from the iPad speakers onto the Rodecaster Pro. Again, I'm not going to do any audio processing. So what you hear is what the receiver would hear. So again, we're going to go and share some content. But before I do, okay, just like last time, we are sharing the Elevate Project website. Looks like it's a little bit slower here, but as you can see, we have all the posts with my videos. We have some Instagram posts as well. Hopefully you can still hear me through the Rodecaster Pro and not the iPad. Hopefully this works. And here we go. And I think we are good there. Last but not least is going to be Bluetooth. Okay, now we're connected through Bluetooth. I can see Bluetooth here as an option, which is amazing. How do I sound? Is the Bluetooth connection sounding okay? Testing 1, 2, 3. As you can still see, I'm still sharing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to test that sound effects again. Okay, so hopefully you heard that okay. We're going to switch back and let's see. Go back to the Rodecaster Pro. And it looks like we can see it as an option, which is nice. Okay, now testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I'm going to mute myself one more time. Okay, I'm back. We're good to go. Let's test that sound effects. Okay, so if this works, I'm going to check the recordings out, and then we'll go to my conclusion. In conclusion, it works. My suggestion with an older iPad with a Lightning port connection is to use a TRRS cable to the Rodecaster Pro. The Bluetooth sounded muddy, and doesn't look like it works with a Lightning to USB-C cable, which is surprising. The sound quality from what I heard was a lot clearer with the TRRS cable, either through the headphone jack or through the Lightning to 3.5mm jack adapter. My preferred choice would be through the headphone jack, so you can charge your iPad at the same time. With a newer iPad with a USB-C connection, it works directly to the Rodecaster Pro through a USB-C to USB-C cable. Again, I wouldn't choose the Bluetooth option as it didn't sound as good. So there you have it. If you have an iPad and want to do Zoom meetings with a Rodecaster Pro and an XLR mic, this is how you do it. If you found value in this video and you like content like this one, you know what to do. Be safe, stay awesome, and I'll catch you in the next one.